Hello, I'm Rex Schaldhaus, and because things on the internet seem to lose their date references, today is Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. On Monday, May 20th, 2024, we did the Kit Carson Trail walk through Carson City, Nevada. And there's a number of things on the internet about this. There's some flyers that we picked up on it. And there's an app you can download. I didn't download the app. I'm not sure why. I'm not real big on apps. My phone kind of argues with some of them. Anyways, I highly recommend you download the apps. We did the tour. It's 2.5 miles walking. I think we spent 2-3 hours on it. It was a nice day. You're going to see the videos on this, the photos on this, and interesting names come up, and I've got the text from the home page for the houses as we go. Louis Prang, the individual who's credited with developing the American Christmas card, Orion, Samuel Clemens, Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens' brother lived there. Samuel Clemens himself went through there for a while. He also went up to Silver City. We saw where he was up there. There's a number of interesting names that pop up as you take this tour. And as you get into the Capitol complex, Carson City being the capital of Nevada, as you get into the Capitol complex, there's a couple of memorials, and they're phenomenal. And they're in the 60s. I'm sorry, they're in the number 40s. They've numbered these 1 through 48. They're in the 40s, and I get kind of confused as to where we were looking, but we've got photos of just about everything. Anyways, this is a interesting tour. Some of these houses were beautifully maintained in absolutely fantastic condition. Others needed some work. Sidewalks in some weren't there. Sidewalks in others needed repairs. Sidewalks in others were beautiful. But some of these houses go back 150 plus years. And a really nice tour. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you're in the Carson City, Reno, Minden, Nevada area, highly recommend it. At least stop by the Capitol complex and see the veteran memorials. They did a fantastic job. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it, and more to come on our vacation. Thanks. Bye. This is the home page. Visit carson.com, carsoncity.com, and there's numerous things up there. It's pretty darn good about giving you things to do, and you can download the map and the key to the map. And we had downloaded the key, and I printed it on the back of the map, and we could hardly read it. It was so small. But there is an app for it. For some reason we didn't have it, and I think that was because I had about 20 sheets of paper detailing everything we were going to do on this, and keys and people, contact numbers, and whatever else. And when we actually got ready to leave for the vacation, I couldn't find it, so we kind of lost it. We're well past the point where I'm going to start talking about what we've seen and what we saw along the way. The first one on the stop is the Nevada State Museum. It's the former U.S. Mint, as that little screen that popped up and said you what it was. It was completed for construction in 1869, went into operation in 1870, and shut down in 1893. So it wasn't in operation that long. I will tell you, though, that it is a fantastic museum. Plan on spending probably 3 hours, if not maybe a little more, if you come and visit this museum. As the pictures scroll by, we were walking this on a nice day. It was probably 71, maybe 72 degrees. We had a light breeze. The sun was out, and it was a really nice day. It is 2.5 mile plus walk, And there were a couple of things. I wish there were sidewalks someplace. There weren't. I wish some of the sidewalks that were there were in better shape than they were. Some of the sidewalks were in fantastic shape. Number 5, Governor John E. Jones's house has this interesting structure. Look at the side, and it has this patio viewing room, sitting off on the side, which is kind of a cool feature. Maybe if I ever design a house, maybe I'll put one on the side of my house. Number 6 is the Louis Prang house, and in reading this, Louis immigrated, I believe, to the Boston area from Europe and was a lithographer, and then migrated further into Carson City, and where he significantly increased his business of making high quality Christmas cards. He was on vacation in California later on in life, and died while he was in California, came back to Carson City to be buried. Now we know who invented the American greeting card as we know it today. If I do slip up and have a photo mislabeled, I'm sorry. I'm looking at number 7, the Bender house, which is very interestingly painted. I really love the porch on this one. I love porches where I can sit outside, talk to my neighbors, drink RC Cola, eat Snickers bars, and kind of have fun. This house was very well maintained, and the little girl is sitting out on the bench in the yard. Number 8 on the stop, the Bliss Mansion, beautifully maintained, and in reading it, 15 rooms, 9 marble fireplaces, over 8,000 square feet, and made out of clear sugar pine and cedar from the Lake Tahoe Mill area. A beautiful house. I wish we could have toured this house, but we didn't see any indication that any of these houses were available for tours. Number 9 is the governor's mansion. I didn't see anybody standing around. Don't know if he still resided there or not, even though it was built in 1909. Nevada was a territory in 1861, became a state in 1864, and they talk about the modifications to this. And the architect on this was George Ferris. If you want to read an interesting book that addresses George Ferris to some degree, read The Devil in the White City. It's about the Chicago Exposition, and it references the first time a Ferris wheel was put into public operation at something like a World Exposition. Kind of interesting, beautifully maintained property. The home page provides lots of little trivia on these houses as you take this tour, and some of these houses are very well maintained. Some of them are a little bit neglected and could use some work. Number 11, the Krebs Peterson house. We came across this type of thing numerous times on this trip. This movie was used in The Shootist with John Wayne, which was a great movie about the end of the Shootist period of the Old West. It wasn't quite what Hollywood made it out to be. People didn't walk out in the street to fast draw against each other to figure out who was the best and fastest. That came up with the movies sometime around, I believe, 1919. That was the first time a face-off duel. But The Shootist is a great movie with John Wayne, Ronnie Howard, Richard Boone, a number of other actors. Stepping off to house number 13 as we go, we'll advance through 12. The guy moved his family in while he was governor. It became the unofficial governor's house while he was living there. And as we step off to 14, kind of interesting, just because of the little tidbits that they're giving us. The woman of this house worked as the Nevada Supreme Court's secretary for 50 years. Wonder if she got Social Security. Number 15 in St. Teresa of Avila Catholic Church. It was an active church. It's no longer an active church. It's been bought by the Brewery Arts Center, and as such it was deconsecrated and in the process. Very well maintained though. As we roll through 16 and 17 kind of in one sweep, just notable homes, and 17 brings up those interesting things that happen. The builder was accused of using improper prison labor. He resigned from his public office position. It later came out that that's not exactly what happened. But, when in doubt, a good lie will go a long way in politics and in the public's eye. Number 18, the Springmeyer House, built in 1908. The guy who first sold commercial alfalfa in Nevada. Kind of interesting. Beautiful hobby, nicely maintained house. Then we move over to number 19, the Lee House. This is interesting because it appears that they're rebuilding the entire house. And he was the surgeon for the Virginia and Truckee Railroad and the Carson and Colorado Railroads, and we rode the Virginia and Truckee Railroad from Carson City to Silver City. Orion Clemens, this is a name that we've crossed numerous times. We crossed him in Silver City, we crossed him in Virginia City, we crossed him in Carson City, obviously, and the brother of Samuel Clemens, the writer who wrote under the pen name of Mark Twain. And we have on this trip we found numerous television shows, television series, movies, notables that were associated with various properties, events, and whatever, including the television show Bonanza, which used Silver City as their main town, but the only time Silver City was actually filmed in the television series of Bonanza was Season 1, Episode 7, according to the town. Frank Norcross was one of 3 members of the graduating class of 1891 at the University of Nevada. Big graduating class. I wonder what standing he was. And then we step off to the St. Peter's Episcopal Church, 1868, and it's now registered in the Historic Places. A beautiful, beautiful structure. This is the sort of architecture that you kind of go back and you say, these people had class. It's just beautifully done. Number 23, St. Peter's Episcopal Church, the rectory, was used by the governor for a while, and that's where Nevada ratified the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery. Another beautifully maintained property. Since many of these houses are over 100 years old, they have obviously changed ownership along the way and changed the purpose of the house. It may have become a preschool or whatever. And like the Dot So La Lee house, which was also Louisa Kieser, it talks about what her history was, big around the middle or big hips, and she was a basket weaver, Native American basket weaver. Another absolutely beautiful church, very well maintained. I wonder if it's still in use. I assume it is. And it talks about how the minister that was assigned to this church actually did a lot of the labor himself, going down to the prison and getting sandstone and hauling it back up to build this house, build this church. Absolutely beautiful structure, beautiful design. This is also a relatively high snow area, so you'll see a lot of these roofs have distinct peak angles to them. Formerly the Carson Brewing Company, 1865. Now it's the Brewery Arts Center, and they had a beautiful mural up on the wall, and we'll slide past that because the next house is the Ferris House, and it talks about George Ferris Sr. Building the things along the way, and his son George Ferris Jr., who came up with the Ferris wheel, and that goes back to citing how it was shown to the public for the very first time at the Chicago Exposition, and it's detailed in Devil in the City of Lights, Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. Really interesting book. Unfortunately, it's about a mass murderer, but interesting book about the south side of Chicago during the Chicago Exposition. The First Presbyterian Church, built 1864, and it is an absolute beautiful structure. This goes back to a period when design, efficiency, beauty, elegance, raw materials all played an interactive part. Very well maintained piece of property. I was tempted to see if the door was unlocked, but decided against it. Of the numerous houses along here, the Olkovich Myers house, if you look at it in detail, it is an interesting house because it is book matched left to right. Whatever's on the left side is on the right side, and of the numerous houses we saw, this is probably one of the houses that if I was going to be given one of these, or if I could afford to buy one of these, or have it rebuilt to current specs, this is probably one of the designs I would take. It's even left to right, so it's symmetrical, and it has a porch that I can sit on and talk to my neighbors, drink RC Cola, eat Snickers candy bars, and enjoy the weather. I'm going to let you kind of cruise through several houses here as you go. They are not grandiose mansions in all cases. They do look decently maintained. Interesting houses, interesting designs as they go. They do have histories behind them, and it's kind of enjoyable how these guys came into these houses, but not everybody built mansions, and they did build some very, very nice houses. And the last one there, number 34, that's another one of those absolutely beautiful houses that whoever did the architecture work on it had an idea, had a dream, and then applied it, and it was absolutely beautiful. Love to have the balconies for this house attached to my house, but I have a one-story ranch style house. Not going to have a whole lot of balconies, but I'm thinking about building one. Repurposed from its original use, the Hyman Olkovich house was a couple of immigrants from Prussia, and it's now been converted to a military antiques store. So I think it was closed, so we didn't have the opportunity to go inside and see what it was, but it looks like it's very well maintained, nicely designed house. Number 36, the original Warren Engine Company. We would later actually visit the Warren Engine Company number 1 museum, which is in the main fire department's offices building, and we had a good time going through there, and that's probably going to be another video. It's probably worth an hour or so for a tour. It's free. They do ask for a donation, but it's up to you. It's a nice museum, and this is where it all started. Number 37, the Rickle Mansion, built 1876. According to the write-up, Paramount Pictures used it for the Remarkable Andrew movie, and I have no idea what that movie is. I ought to look it up on Google and see what it says. Beautiful, beautiful building, and it looks like it has a viewing patio on the roof. There are times when even plain just looks beautiful, and this one, going back to the E.D. Sweeney building, 1860, one of the few remaining brick buildings from the earliest years of Carson City, and the guy who constructed it also constructed the Nevada State Capitol building in 1870. I just look at these and go, this is how structures should be built. Not like what we see today with their stainless steel and plate glass and whatever else. If you're a Western bar, you have to have a saloon, and the folklore of this one, the history of this one goes back to this was a meeting place. This is where people conducted business, where they talked politics, where they had debates and caucuses and whatever else. And right on Main Street. So I've been there for a while, 1899. So right now it's 125 years old and still in use, as a good bar should be. The number 40 in the list of 48, St. Charles Mueller Hotel, 1862. Another one of those beautiful buildings. We stood around this building for several minutes just looking at how it was constructed, how it was built, and the little square that was next to it that had a Pony Express memorial stone in it, which was kind of cool. Now we run into some problems, and that's because there is so much inside the Capitol complex that trying to keep them all straight, trying to keep them proper, whatever, just wasn't going to work. So a lot of this is just going to be flipped through it. A lot of this is very old buildings, very well maintained. The park, it was literally inside a beautiful park. Every side just had a beautiful park on it, and obviously numerous buildings inside of it. I'm not going to try and break them apart, but I will tell you that there was a massive memorial section back in here, and part of it was for the USS Nevada, which was the only battleship that could get underway during the December 7th, 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor. And then there is another memorial that we'll address at the end of the video. Well, there's two memorials that we'll address at the end of the video, which are really, really cool. But I'm just going to let you ride through the Capitol and look at the Capitol and its various buildings. Earlier I said that obviously many of these buildings had changed ownership and changed purpose, and the Kitzmeier Furniture Company became a sushi bar, and a big one at that. The Paul Luxalt, I guess that's how you pronounce it, building 1891 was the first federal office, obviously built, according to the text, built in Nevada. And one of the features was its three-phase clock up on the very tower. You can see a couple of the faces if you look at it. The last stop in the numbered ones set up in the Kit Carson Trail is number 48, the Foreman Roberts House Museum. It appeared to be closed when we got there. Some people were working inside, so we weren't sure. But this was this is just one of those beautiful homes when you look at it and you say, somebody had a flair for design when they built this home, and it's beautifully colored, beautifully taken care of. And the museum appeared to be closed. There appeared to be people working inside of it when we were there. throughout the trip throughout Nevada, I was just rolled back by the number of memorials and honorariums to the U.S. military, the veterans, those killed in action, missing in action. And in the Capitol complex is this array, this memorial, and the silhouetted, the cutouts to give you the image of the U.S. military in the walls, and the text that was written in their honor, and the complexity of its simplicity, if that makes sense, just rolled me back. My wife pointed out, and I didn't look up, my wife pointed out that the louvers and the roof have names and dates on them. So their numbers, their names and dates are recorded for history and for people to realize it. And I lost too many of my guys during my military career. If you lose more than 0, you've lost too many, and I lost a lot more than 0. And this was emotional. Another one in the state capitol complex is the Nevada State Veterans Memorial, and there's the legend to the memorial and a beautifully etched, engraved, carved wall scenario, and a place to sit down and relax and enjoy it. And it's not small. My wife is in there so that we have some degree of relationship. This is a very large presentation, and again, it just causes you to step back and look at the difference of the various places we've been and how they treat the veterans and those that have died in service to their country. There were several other memorials in the Capitol complex to the USS Nevada, to firefighters, to law enforcement, a couple of individuals identified, and you'll see these as they play out. And there were a lot of statues, plaques, a lot of information transference taking place. While we were walking the Kit Carson Trail, one of the things we did take occasional photos of is some of the markers that are put in the concrete, put in marble, put in various stones that are along the trail. And here's only a couple of them, and one of them for the Pony Express. So being from California, we know a number of our street signs because we do walk a lot. Here is a pedestrian crossing, and it says, look, make eye contact to cross. Okay, we discovered this really works, and it's kind of like when we're in Belgium. You get near an intersection in Belgium and the cars screech on the brakes. Pretty much that's the way it is here. The other one we saw was the snow removal sign. We saw these a lot when we were growing up in Chicago, but in Ramona, California, Southern California, San Diego County, where we now live, we haven't seen one of these in years. I like trees. I miss trees. We have no trees on our property, mainly because of the fire hazard. And trees all over the place, just absolutely beautiful. I am 100% envious. And my wife likes flowers. I like flowers, and these are just a couple of the photos of some of the beautiful flowers we saw in some of the yards as we were walking the Kit Carson Trail. We found numerous lawn ornaments, most of them oriented toward mining, and this was just one of the better shots. that we have, and it seemed like maybe these were made as a group, because I think we saw this at 4 or 5, the same basic one at 4 or 5 different houses. If you've got a plain white wall, you might as well paint it. And this was over by the Performing Arts area, I believe, across from the Brewery Art Center, I believe, and it was colorful, it was beautiful, it was interesting. Wrapping this up, the homepage for the Kit Carson Trail walk says that it's about 2.5 miles. I would believe that. I think we spent a couple of hours on it, maybe 3. And this is the map again, and the remainder of this is some photos that we took around the Capitol complex and around the area. They fly a lot of U.S. flags in the Capitol complex, which is the state capital, Carson City, and it was just absolutely beautiful. The Capitol area is the site of numerous of the items in the trail, and you literally just can't keep them separate. And the last one, almost the last one, is just a view down the street. We were there on a weekday, and the place just was not real busy. And I'm going to close out with the Nevada State Veterans Memorial Wall, I think is what its title is. I'm going to close it out with that. We enjoyed the walk. I wish I would have had the app to utilize it while we were taking it. You come up with a number of very familiar names. You come up with a number of really interesting architectures, some interesting stories as to how these structures came about, how they've changed hands, and what they meant. Hope you have enjoyed it. We really enjoyed this walk. It was totally enjoyable, and it was a really nice day to do it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it.